new Repertorium update, I decided to go back to the Dark Ages to take a look at some of the demons and rank them by the threat they pose. And I can get a complete list with the Repertorium. The range is from S to D. Enemies in C and D tier are enemies either so weak you can ignore them entirely, or so helpful they might be beneficial to keep alive. B tier is for enemies that you need to take seriously. They aren't nightmare inducing just yet, and you can avoid problems with them if you give them their deserved respect. A tier is for true threats. When these guys show up on the field, you dread seeing them on the battlefield. And S tier is reserved for the most dangerous type of demons, the ones you fear, the ones responsible for the most of your deaths. Kill them as fast as possible. They should be at the top of your priority. Use everything in your arsenal. Ready? Let's begin. Zombies. D tier. Need I say more? Unlike the other members of D tier, these guys don't help you. I guess you can keep them alive as a source of health, but they barely pose any threat either. At worst is that you get stuck on them while trying to deal with something more dangerous. In other words, they are the threat equivalent of a tripping hazard. Zombie soldiers. B tier. As crazy as it sounds, on higher difficulties, these guys can be an absolute menace, flooding the air with projectiles, killing you through sheer quantity. The reason they don't rank higher is because their threat depends exclusively on other demons. Their duty is to light you up while you're busy with someone else. However, take those demons away and they become a slaughter fest. Also, you only really see them become a problem when you min-max the sliders. Imagine getting killed by a floof swarm. But this time, there is no floof, just angry spikes. Metal Shield Soldier. D tier. It doesn't take much to superheat their shields. After that, shattering a single shield can cause a cascade that explodes multiple lines of demons into armor shards that help you. They're not harmful, they're helpful. Really, the only time they become a problem is in the Repertorium, where you're on a timer and you have to spend the last minute at the end of the round looking for these guys camping at the edge of the map. Am I playing Doom or Tag? Energy Shield Soldiers. D tier. Once upgraded, your shield can bounce between multiple energy shield soldiers, wiping them out in one throw. Bouncing shield can even damage other demons. Thanks for the help. Chain Gunner Soldier. B tier. That chain gun of theirs is nasty. Not only does it fill your screen with effects, making it hard to see, but it drains your health, and there's no dodging, meaning if you're in their line of sight, your health is constantly draining. Sure, you can block, but on higher difficulty, it melts your shield. Not to mention, you might be busy timing your parries, meaning every time you parry, you'll lose some shield durability. The reason they don't score higher is because of their health. Plus, they are usually close to superheated shield soldiers, meaning killing them will kill the chain gunner as well. But these guys should be erased as soon as possible. Imps. A tier. It's the soldiers, but with a twist. Imps can now throw energy nets that pass through enemies, pass through many obstacles, and, most importantly, block your attacks. Fighting a horde of imps that have settled in feels like storming a fortress as all your attacks are blocked. You need to slaughter them before they can reach that stage. Can't tell you how many times I'm in the middle of something while I'm watching a wall of energy nets coming my way, and the thing in front of me is keeping me unable to avoid. Stone Imps. B tier. If you throw your shield into a horde and it comes back without killing anybody, it's probably because there's a Stone Imp. You'd think that these more durable cousins of the normal Imp would be more of a threat, but you'd be wrong. The Stone Imp's hardened skin only stops shield throws, while energy nets stop everything. Sure, they are a bit more durable, but firing your gun a few more times isn't that bad. If a Stone Imp is in a crowd, there's a good chance you'll kill it by accident by firing just about any gun. Their charges can catch you off guard, but parrying it will send rocks flying back at the enemy. And their charge counts as a Hell Surge. Imp Stalker. D tier. These guys aren't harmful, they're helpful. Their primary attack are ranged attacks, most of which are Hell Surges, that are easy to avoid when they're not. Range Hell Surges are even more valuable than normal Hell Surges, since they have a return to sender button on them. And they trigger certain things like your runes and cooking your rockets. And you have a lunging Hell Surge as well. I regularly try to keep these guys alive so I can farm Hell Surges off of them. Nightmare Imp Stalker, S tier. Alright, welcome back. What happened? What happened is that invisible imps are bullshit. They are the single worst enemy in this entire freaking game. Like, this game is great. It is a diamond. It is a gem. And the imps are... It's like if the diamond fell into a pile of cow manure. It's like if you took a diamond and you went to a farm and was like, whoops-a-daisies, oh dear, it fell into the pig pen. That's what invisible imps are. Invisible imps are garbage. Did I just damage myself? Holy crap, those barrels have massive blast radii. Stop that. Who the... Stinking invisible imps! Asshole! Die! These guys are a true threat. Their only Hell Surge is a lunge attack, which they rarely use. Most of the time, they spam large energy nets that block your attacks, hone in on you, pass through enemies, and pass through walls. Not only that, but their invisibility also makes them a real problem. Can't tell you how many times I get stuck on something, begin to wonder what it is, merely to see a claw swipe. I round the corner merely to see claws lunge at me, in the middle of a battle just to see claws flying through the air. If you get hit and you spin around and can't find what hit you, it's probably one of these assholes. Start firing blindly. They are cheap shots incarnate that can tear chunks out of you. Dare I say, I'll go as far as to say that they make the game worse. No, really. I think the game is worse off having them in it. It feels like somebody's idea of a prank. If you find a Nightmare Imp Stalker, kill it as quickly as possible, as soon as possible. There's no such thing as overkill. Just kill it. Hell Knights, C tier. The melee extraordinaire is pure hell surges. Keep these guys alive and they will serve as living batteries. Sure, if they get in large quantities, they might become a problem. But the only time I've seen them in that required quantity is in the Repertorium, where you go ham on the sliders. And even then, they still need the support of other demons to pose any threat. Their hyper-aggression can be detrimental, but not in the way you think. Many Hell Surge projectiles don't go through enemies. That includes Hell Knights. So often I see a valuable Hell Surge projectile hit the back of a Hell Knight that was charging me. However, they are better off kept alive for the most part. Battle Knight, D tier. Wait, how are they even less dangerous than the normal Hell Knights? Well, that's because they can throw their axe at you, providing you a ranged Hell Surge. Their entire kit helps you, so you're better off keeping them alive. It's ironic they're supposed to be stronger than the Hell Knight, but in a way that makes them more useful. Unless I min-max the sliders, if I parry a single projectile from something like the Imp, it dies. A one-use battery. The durability of Battle Knight means I can farm one Battle Knight for multiple Hell Surges. Talk about failing upwards. Pinky Riders, C tier. They're dangerous if you don't know where they are, or are getting overwhelmed. However, for the most part, they're not a problem. Dare I say they're actually useful, providing a consistent stream of ranged Hell Surges. As mentioned, ranged Hell Surges are even better than normal ones. Sure, he does have some non-Hell Surge ranged attacks, but they are easy to deal with. I often keep them alive to farm Hell Surges. The danger is always when paired up with more dangerous demons, and suddenly your attention is split between dodging their ranged attacks and dealing with other demons. The fact they have non-Hell Surge projectiles do make them more dangerous than the Battle Knight, but other than that, they're walking batteries. Arachnotron, A tier. Take the threat of the Chain Gunner and give them longer range, more health, and the ability to throw bombs at you. They provide no Hell Surges, and I've discussed just how much of a threat those machine guns pose. If you're in its line of sight, you are taking damage. And it throws mines at you. If you have the misfortune of being too close when that happens, you can practically get one-shot as the bombs come out like a shotgun spread. Like a freeloader, he never gives, only takes. And like a freeloader, you should get rid of it as soon as possible. Armored Arachnotron, A tier. Good news, the chain gun is gone. Bad news, it's replaced with a ballista that hits like a truck. But at least it's dodgeable now, right? I guess, sort of. If you can get an armored Arachnotron by itself, sure, that ballista is easily dodged. But it is rarely by itself. Instead, you'll be dealing with other things, and he's trolling you at a distance with bolts that can pass through enemies. And they still have that bomb ability. In their entire arsenal, they only have one Hell Surge attack. And while you do find these guys less of a threat than their unarmored brethren, it's only marginally so. Mancubus, C tier. Their meteor attacks aren't that bad. It's only when being wielded by other demons that might be a problem. They're also a reliable source of Hell Surges up close. Granted, you probably won't be getting close range unless there's only one Mancubi left on the field, but overall, they're not bad. Because of how immobile they are, if you don't like them, you can easily run away from them. Plus, they are a great target if you use the Shield Stun plus Ricochet feature to clear out everyone around them since their health pool won't let them die quickly. Thanks, sucker! Mortar Mancubus, B tier. That acid is a menace. It is an area denial device. Not bad in small quantities, but in large quantities, you're now playing the floor as lava, but now you have no stools. Plus, it slows your movement, making it difficult to escape. Did FromSoft make this enemy? The danger really shines through when paired up with a horde of other demons where you are trying to escape the acid, but some demon in your face is not letting you. Armored Mancubus, C tier. Every ranged attack now has a Hell Surge projectile attached to it, making the Armored Mancubus a good source of ranged Hell Surges. It doesn't make it into D tier because the Hell Surge is part of a larger energy net that has non-Hell Surges too. So there is danger, but for the most part, you're better off keeping this guy alive to farm. Frankly, I'm still on the fence on whether or not to put these guys into D tier because of how helpful they are. Revenant, B tier. Only about half their attacks are Hell Surges, range Hell Surges too. However, you still have to deal with the other half, which compose a threat. Those skulls are not easy to dodge. But hey, at least they don't spam energy nets. So often you'll be busy, and then you have to deal with the hard to dodge skulls. So you might want to try to take them out early. But between their flying and their ability to turn intangible, the act of killing them can be rather tricky. Certainly a threat to be taken seriously, but not the worst. Whiplash, B tier. What makes a Whiplash dangerous is deception. Its melee is deceptively long. You look at the crowd and deem yourself safe because of the distance, then a Whiplash in the crowd gives you a wake-up call by whipping you. You get a crowd of enemies in front of you and think you're safe, melee guys can't reach you and projectiles get blocked, but then a Whiplash from behind the lines decides to pelt you, and you can't even see her. Plus they are immune to damage when they go into slithering across the ground. And not all their range attacks are Hell Surges. These guys should be taken seriously, however they do provide good sources of Hell Surges, including ranged Hell Surges. Acolyte, S tier. So, after an Acolyte spawns in, if you don't kill her fast enough, she'll develop an impenetrable shield and produce a clone. 2 sources of attack. You need to kill the clone before you can kill the Acolyte. Not only that, she floods the arena with purple spots that damage you if you enter them. She specifically tries to put them in front of you, predicting where you'll be and putting a zone there. Not only that, they are prone to teleporting. Don't be surprised if you spend a significant amount of time running around the arena looking for the clone or chasing after it. And after you finish that, you'll have to begin a new one looking for the original. The last part really becomes a problem in the Repertorium, where you're racing the clock. Don't be surprised if you run out of time because you spent too much time chasing this Lovecraftian gingerbread man. These wenches are an absolute menace, and I recommend killing them as soon as possible. Spawn camp them if necessary. Cacodemons, B tier. These flying brains are comprised of 2 attack patterns. One is a fast Hell Surge bolt, and you know how I feel about ranged Hell Surges. But the other is 3 alternating energy nets that you need to weave through. By itself, the Cacodemon isn't bad. It becomes a problem when paired with a demonic horde. You're dealing with 100 things in front of you, the last thing you need is to think about weaving through energy nets. It's not area denial per se, but it's a problem when you want to move a certain direction, but can't because the energy nets don't let you. So you try moving how the nets want, but then the other demons won't let you. I think their threat would go down if this had been a third-person game. You wouldn't need to aim the camera in its direction to see the nets. But Doom is a first-person, so B tier they go. I've heard many people recommend shield bashing through the net, but they can't be locked onto while in that mode. I usually just run away until they're done. Cyber Demon, B tier. Honestly, it was tricky placing the Cyber Demon. They're kinda pushovers. They probably would have even made it to C tier if I only experienced the campaign. But these guys can be a menace in Repertorium. They do have two dangerous attacks, that being their machine gun and ground spikes. If you get close, it spams Hell Surges. The safest place to be is right in his face. However, if you have some area denial demons that prevent you from getting close, suddenly the Cyber Demon becomes a force to be reckoned with. The Cyber Demon is basically a super sniper, an artillery piece, being an S tier danger at range and a D tier wimp up close. Cosmic Baron, C tier. I love these guys. They are really fun to fight. And they'll give you a shock with not just their size, but how aggressive they are. Plus, they don't falter on the first parry, but the third. And they have range attacks too. They are super batteries, providing plenty of health surges, and even ranged health surges. The reason they don't go in D is because they hit like a truck. So if you mess up your parries, you can find chunks of your health ripped out. Agadon Hunter, C tier. At point blank, they spam health surges. I actually find these guys to be even less of a threat than the Cyber Demon. At range, it launches these skulls and shield thingy, one of which hones in on you. And its tracking is insane! The threat of the Agadon is avoiding the homing skull while trying to deal with another horde. Often you'll be trying to avoid the skull but find yourself unable to because some douche is in front of you. But once again, it depends on the douche. Lower rank is like the Mancubi and Hell Knights, and dealing with them isn't bad. But if it's something like an Acolyte, then we got a problem. But that's mostly because of the Acolyte itself is a problem. Their role in this bullet hell is excellent, putting on range pressure while you deal with somebody else at close range. In most of my Repertorium battles, I ended up killing them last. I acknowledge them as a threat, and yet not enough of one that requires me to focus on it. Komodo, B tier. Once again, not bad. All their melee attacks are Hell Surges, and their range attacks are easy to dodge meteors, or are mostly easy to dodge. The most dangerous time is the transition between their melee and ranged. You don't expect the meteors to come out, and you're too close to avoid them easily. The danger of the Komodo is distraction, as they hit like a truck and even their movement can cause damage. And they soak up damage like a sponge. Their mobility can be a problem as they run away from you. You think you're safe, then they suddenly come back and surprise you with a smack to the head. At least with the Cyber Demons and Agadon Hunters, they're mostly immobile. And the Baron of Hell is so aggressive that you can easily predict where he is. It's hard to know exactly where the Komodo is running to. Vagary, B tier. Tanky as all hell, barely any health surges. They're more annoying than anything else. Avoiding their attacks isn't the worst. The truly bad part is the acid spit. But most people are putting them in pairs and with mortar Mancubi. As a result, you'll often find the entire arena flooded with acid, almost as if God just played a joke on Noah. When you said flood, you didn't mention it'd be acid.